I never used to believe people when they said a single night could ruin the rest of your life. Now I know they're right. Every 4th of July, my family still asks why I refuse to leave the house after dark. My friends think I'm just traumatized by fireworks. I let them believe that. The truth is, the fireworks were the only reason I survived. This happened 3 years ago, in a tiny town outside Columbus, Ohio. My name doesn't matter, because if what followed me that night ever hears it again, I'm afraid it'll come back. 4th of July has always been my favorite holiday. No pressure, no gifts, just food, friends, fireworks, and staying out far later than your parents normally allowed. That year I was 23. A few friends invited me to a barbecue at a farmhouse about 30 minutes outside town. We grilled burgers, drank cheap beer, and watched kids run around waving sparklers while country music blasted from an old speaker. Everything felt normal, maybe too normal. Around 10:30 the fireworks started. Everyone gathered in the field behind the house. Bright reds, greens, gold. The explosions echoed across miles of farmland. I remember thinking how empty everything looked beyond the lights. Just black fields stretching forever. At one point, I wandered away from the crowd to answer a phone call from my sister. Reception was terrible, so I kept walking toward the road. I never reached enough signal to answer. But I heard something. Footsteps. Slow. Crunching through dry grass behind me. I turned. Nobody. The fireworks exploded again overhead, lighting up the field like daylight. Empty. When darkness returned, the footsteps stopped. I laughed it off. Probably a deer. I wish it had been. Around midnight, people started leaving. I had work the next morning, so I headed home alone. The quickest route cut through a county road surrounded by woods. No houses. No streetlights, just trees. The fireworks faded behind me until all I could hear was my tires on the pavement. Then, my headlights caught someone standing beside the road. A man, or something shaped like one. He wore old blue coveralls. His arms hung unnaturally low. His head was tilted almost sideways. He wasn't hitchhiking. He wasn't waving. He was just watching. As I drove past, I instinctively looked into my rearview mirror. He never turned, never moved. He simply stood there facing the road. I remember telling myself he was probably drunk, maybe someone from another party. But about 5 minutes later, I saw him again. Same coveralls, same posture, standing on the opposite side of the road. That made no sense. There wasn't enough time for anyone to get ahead of me. Not on foot. I sped up. A mile later, he appeared again. This time, closer. Only a few feet from the white line. I couldn't see his face. The headlights somehow never reached it. Like darkness clung to his head. I looked away for maybe 2 seconds. When I looked back, he was gone. I slammed the brakes. Nothing. No footprints. No movement. Only woods. Then, something hit the roof of my car. Boom. I screamed. Branches scraped across the windshield. I looked upward. Nothing there. Then another impact. Harder. Like someone landing on top of the vehicle. The entire roof dented inward. I floored the accelerator. The weight stayed with me. Every bump in the road sounded like footsteps running across the metal above my head. 1, 2, 3. Back and forth. Back and forth. I could actually hear breathing. Heavy. Wet. Breathing. I didn't dare stop. My phone had no signal. Of course. I kept driving. Then every light inside my car suddenly went out. Dashboard. Radio. Clock. Everything. Only the headlights remained. That's when the breathing stopped. Complete silence. I remember thinking, maybe it's gone. Then I heard fingernails, dragging slowly across the windshield. Not outside. Inside. from the passenger seat. I turned. Nobody. The sound continued anyway. Long, slow, scratches across glass that wasn't being touched. Then a voice, barely above a whisper. "Don't look behind you." I froze. Every instinct told me to check the back seat. Instead, I gripped the wheel tighter. Because the voice didn't sound scared. It sounded excited, like it wanted me to turn around. So I didn't. About 10 minutes later, I finally reached a gas station. It was one of those old places that's open 24 hours because truckers stop there overnight. Bright fluorescent lights flooded the parking lot. The moment I pulled underneath them, everything stopped. The breathing, the scratching, the pressure on the roof. Gone. I jumped out of the car. The clerk looked horrified. He asked what happened to my vehicle. I didn't understand. Until I looked up. The roof wasn't just dented. There were handprints. Hundreds. Pressed into the metal. Tiny ones. Large ones. Some looked almost human. Others had far too many fingers. The clerk insisted I call the police. I did. 2 deputies searched the woods nearby. Nothing. No footprints. No broken branches. No evidence. They assumed I'd hit something. Maybe vandalism. One deputy actually laughed. He said, "Looks like a bear had a party." I laughed too, mostly because I didn't know what else to do. When I got home, I couldn't sleep. Around 4 in the morning, I heard fireworks again. One, then another. Strange. The holiday was basically over. I looked outside. No lights. No explosions. Only sound. Pop, 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 coming from somewhere behind my house. I stepped onto the back porch. The noise stopped. My motion light switched on. Nothing there. Then, another pop. Right behind me. Inside the house. I spun around. The living room was empty. Except, every family photo hanging on the wall had been turned backward. Every single one. I live alone. The next morning my car was gone. Not stolen. Towed. Apparently neighbors complained it had been blocking part of the street. When I picked it up from the impound lot, the roof looked perfectly normal. No dents. No handprints. Nothing. The workers insisted it had arrived exactly that way. I showed them pictures on my phone. Except, those were gone too. Every photo from that night had been corrupted. Black screens. Missing files. The only thing left was one blurry image, taken accidentally while I was driving. At first glance it looked completely dark. Then I increased the brightness. Standing in the middle of the road, maybe 50 feet ahead, was the figure in blue coveralls. Only now I could see his face, or where it should have been. There wasn't one, just smooth skin, like melted wax, and where his eyes belonged, tiny bursts of light, like distant fireworks. I moved 6 months later. Different town, different job, different life. The nightmares eventually faded. Mostly, until last year. 4th of July again. I stayed home with the lights off. Around midnight, someone knocked on my front door. 3 slow knocks. I ignored them. Another 3. Then, a whisper through the mail slot. "Don't look behind you." The exact same voice. I didn't move. Didn't breathe. The whisper became laughter. Soft. Patient. Almost happy. Then it stopped. After about 20 minutes, I finally looked through the peephole. Nobody. Just an empty porch. I opened the door anyway. There wasn't anyone there. Only a single sparkler. Still burning. Impossible. Sparklers only last about a minute. This one glowed for nearly 10. I watched it burn itself down to ash. When it finally went out, the neighborhood fireworks stopped too. At exactly 12:17 a.m. Maybe you're listening to this while celebrating. Maybe you're driving home after watching fireworks. If you see someone standing beside a dark country road tonight, don't stop. Don't wave. And whatever you do, if a voice ever whispers, don't look behind you. Listen to it. Not because it's trying to help you, because if you turn around, you'll finally see who's been riding home with you since the fireworks ended. It was the 4th of July, and the sky over Willow Creek was already bleeding red and gold by the time I pulled into my driveway. I remember thinking how perfect it all looked from the outside. Kids running with sparklers, the distant pop of bottle rockets, that thick summer air carrying the smell of charcoal and gunpowder. I'd spent the afternoon at the town park like everyone else, forcing smiles, nursing a warm beer, pretending I wasn't the guy who showed up alone again this year. My name's Alex, 31, divorced for 14 months. The kind of person neighbors wave at, but never really invite inside anymore. I killed the engine and sat there for a minute, listening to the fireworks. They were louder than usual this year. The big display from the fairgrounds was supposed to start at 9, but people had been setting off their own since dusk. Every crack and boom made the windows of my little ranch house rattle. I told myself the shaking in my hands was just the caffeine from too much iced tea. Nothing more. I should have gone inside right away. But something felt off. Not scary, just watched. Like when you're in an empty parking lot at night, and you swear you hear footsteps even though you're alone. I chalked it up to paranoia. The divorce had done that to me. Made me jumpy. Made me check the locks twice every night. I grabbed the leftover potato salad from the passenger seat and headed up the walk. The porch light was burned out. I'd been meaning to fix it for weeks. In the flickering glow of a neighbor's Roman candle, I saw my front door was already cracked open an inch. I froze. I knew I'd locked it. I always lock it. Habit from living alone after Sarah left. Maybe I'd been distracted. Maybe the wind. I pushed the door open the rest of the way with my foot, calling out, "Hello," like an idiot in a movie. The house was dark except for the blue flicker of the muted TV I'd left on. The air inside felt wrong, cooler than it should have been, and there was this faint metallic smell underneath the fireworks smoke drifting in. I flipped on the hallway light. Nothing. Power flicker from the booms outside, probably. I set the potato salad on the kitchen counter and grabbed a flashlight from the junk drawer. That's when I noticed the first little thing that made my stomach drop. The back door in the kitchen was unlocked. The deadbolt was turned, but the chain wasn't on. I never forget the chain. I locked it fast, heart kicking up. Outside, a massive firework exploded, green and white, lighting up the whole yard for a second. In that flash, I thought I saw movement by the shed. Just a shadow. Could have been a raccoon. Could have been nothing. I laughed at myself, nervous and shaky. Get it together, Alex. You're not in a horror movie. I went room by room like a cop on TV, shining the flashlight. Living room, empty. Bathroom, empty. Guest bedroom, empty. My bedroom at the end of the hall looked untouched. Bed still unmade from that morning. But the closet door was closed, and I always leave it open to let the air circulate. Small things. Easy to explain away. The fireworks were reaching their peak now. The booms came every few seconds, overlapping, rattling the pictures on the walls. I sat on the edge of my bed, trying to breathe. My phone buzzed, an unknown number. I ignored it. Then it buzzed again. A text, "Nice house. You should fix that porch light." My blood turned to ice. I dropped the phone. The screen cracked against the floorboards. Another text came through before I could pick it up. "You look better without her." I grabbed the phone, hands shaking so bad I could barely type. "Who is this?" No answer. I tried calling the number. Straight to voicemail, some robotic message. I dialed 911 instead. It rang once, then the call dropped. Service was always spotty during the big displays. Too many people on their phones. I told myself it was a prank. Some kid from the neighborhood messing with me. But then I heard it, a floorboard creak in the hallway. Not the house settling. A deliberate, careful step. The kind someone makes when they're trying not to be heard. I killed the flashlight and backed into the corner of the bedroom, pressing myself between the dresser and the wall. My breathing sounded too loud. The fireworks kept exploding, boom, 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 like they were covering for whatever was out there. Another creak, closer. Then the sound of my bedroom door easing open on its hinges. Slow, patient. I held my breath until my lungs burned. A silhouette moved across the doorway, backlit for half a second by a burst of red light from the window. Tall, put up, something long in its hand, maybe a crowbar, maybe a knife. It paused, listening. I could hear it breathing, steady and calm, while mine was ragged and terrified. It stepped into the room. I saw the glint of metal. Not a crowbar. A hunting knife, long and serrated. The figure moved to the bed, lifted the covers like it expected to find me there. When it didn't, it let out this low chuckle that I'll hear in my nightmares forever. "Come out, Alex," it whispered. "I just want to talk." Like old times. Old times. The voice was distorted, but something in it was familiar. Gravelly. Like someone who'd smoked too much. Or changed it on purpose. I thought about Sarah. The way she'd left me for that guy from her gym. The way she'd said I was too quiet, too boring, too safe. This couldn't be connected, could it? The figure turned toward my hiding spot. Another firework lit the room, bright white. For a split second, I saw the eyes under the hood. Pale. Intense. Not a stranger. Not exactly. It was Mike. Sarah's new boyfriend. The one who'd sent me those weird, anonymous messages 6 months ago telling me to stay away from her. The one who'd shown up at my work once, just watching from across the street. He'd been planning this, waiting for a night when the whole town was distracted by explosions and noise. A night when screams would just blend in. I didn't think. I just moved. I grabbed the lamp off the dresser and swung it as hard as I could. It caught him in the side of the head. Glass shattered. He roared and stumbled back, knife swinging wild. I felt a hot line of pain across my arm. Shallow, but bleeding. I ran. Down the hallway, slipping on my own blood. He was right behind me, cursing, laughing through the pain. "You can't hide tonight, Alex. The fireworks are too loud. No one's coming." I made it to the kitchen, grabbed a knife from the block, pathetic compared to his. The back door was still locked. I fumbled with the chain, fingers slippery. He was in the kitchen now, knocking over chairs, closing the distance. A rocket went off outside, so close it sounded like it was in the yard. The flash showed his face clearly, grinning, blood running down his temple from where the lamp hit him. I got the door open and ran into the backyard. The grass was wet from the sprinkler I'd forgotten to turn off earlier. Neighbors' fences on both sides. I screamed for help, but my voice got swallowed by a barrage of fireworks. It looked like the whole sky was on fire. Red, white, blue, gold. Beautiful and horrible at the same time. I vaulted the fence into Mrs. Hargrove's yard. She was 83 and half deaf. No lights on in her house. I cut through her garden, thorns tearing at my legs. Mike was behind me, slower now, but still coming. I could hear him crashing through the bushes. I made it to the street. Houses all around. But everyone was out front watching the show or inside with the AC blasting. I ran toward the park, barefoot, bleeding, phone still in my pocket but cracked and useless. Sirens? No, just more fireworks. He caught up near the old oak tree at the corner, tackled me hard from behind. We hit the ground. His knife was gone, lost in the chase maybe, but his hands were around my throat. "She was never yours," he hissed, squeezing. "You should have stayed gone." I fought, clawed at his face, got a thumb in his eye. He howled and loosened just enough for me to knee him in the groin. I rolled away, gasping, stars exploding behind my eyes that had nothing to do with the celebration. That's when the big finale started. The sky lit up like daylight. Wave after wave of mortars, whistles, crackles. The noise was deafening. Perfect cover. I crawled toward the streetlight, trying to stand. My vision was tunneling. Blood loss. Panic. Mike came at me again. I swung wildly with the kitchen knife I'd somehow held onto. It caught his shoulder. He staggered. For a second I thought I'd won. Then he smiled again, that same awful smile, and pulled something from his waistband. A gun this time. Small. Black. Real. "You think this is over?" he said, voice barely audible over the booms. "I've been watching you for months. The divorce was just the beginning. Tonight's the finale." I ran toward the road. A car was coming, some late straggler heading to the fireworks. I waved my arms, screaming. The driver slowed, confused. Mike fired. The shot blended with a massive explosion overhead. The bullet hit the asphalt near my feet, sparking. The driver panicked and sped off. I kept running, zigzagging between parked cars. Another shot. This one grazed my side, burning hot. I went down behind a truck, pressing my hand to the wound. Blood everywhere. The fireworks were ending now. The booms slowing. Silence creeping back in. I could hear Mike's footsteps. Slow. Deliberate. Enjoying this. "Come on, Alex. Let's finish it like men." I was crying. Not from the pain, from the unfairness of it all. One stupid holiday. One cracked porch light. One ex's crazy boyfriend who couldn't let go. I thought about calling Sarah, telling her what kind of man she'd chosen. But my phone was dead now, screen shattered. He found me. Stood over me with the gun pointed at my head. The last firework went up, a weak little dud that barely made a sound. In the sudden quiet, I heard police sirens in the distance. Someone must have finally noticed something wrong. Mike heard them too. His face changed. Not scared, annoyed. Like this was an inconvenience. "Guess we'll have to do this another time," he whispered. Then he brought the gun down hard on my temple. Everything went black. I woke up in the hospital 2 days later. Concussion. Stab wound. GSW Grace. The police told me they found Mike 2 blocks away, trying to steal a car. He had my address written on his arm in marker. Photos of me and Sarah on his phone. A journal full of dates and times he'd followed me. He'd been planning it for the 4th because no one hears anything on the 4th. They said I was lucky, that the fireworks probably saved my life by covering my screams and buying time for someone to call the cops after they heard the gunshots mixed with the show. I don't feel lucky. Every night I still hear the booms. Every flash of light makes me flinch. I moved out of Willow Creek. New town, new name on the mailbox. But on Independence Day, when the sky lights up, I sit in my basement with the lights off and the doors triple locked, and I narrate this story into my phone. Because if I don't get it out, it eats me alive. If you're listening to this, if it's July 4th where you are, check your locks. Twice. Fix that porch light. And whatever you do, don't sit alone in the dark waiting for the pretty explosions to end. Because sometimes the real fireworks aren't in the sky. They're in the house with you. It was the 4th of July again, and I told myself this year would be different. My name is Lauren, 28. I'd moved back to my hometown of Maple Ridge 2 months earlier after losing my job in the city. My parents threw their annual lakeside blowout every year. Grill smoking, coolers full of beer, kids waving glow sticks, and the big fireworks show over the water at 10 o'clock sharp. Tradition. Safe. Normal. I arrived around 4 in the afternoon with a bag of chips and a forced smile. The backyard was already packed. Uncles arguing about the best charcoal, cousins cannonballing into the lake, Aunt Karen chain-smoking and complaining about the heat. My mom hugged me too tight, whispering, "It's good to have you home, honey. You look thin." Dad was manning the grill in his red, white, and blue apron, laughing too loud like he always did when company was around. The day passed in a haze of sunscreen and small talk. I helped set out paper plates and pretended not to notice how everyone asked about my ex, Ryan. Still no word from him. You two were so good together. I shrugged it off. Ryan and I had ended things badly right before I moved back. Texts ignored, belongings left on my old doorstep. Ancient history. As the sun dipped low, the real party kicked in. Someone cranked up the country music. Firecrackers popped in the distance from neighbors down the shore. I wandered toward the water with a plastic cup of spiked lemonade, watching the sky turn orange. My little cousin Tommy, 6 years old, ran up to me clutching a sparkler. "Lauren, watch this." He waved it in wild circles, nearly burning my arm. I laughed and helped him write his name in the air. For a minute, it felt okay, like I belonged again. But then Tommy said something that stuck with me. "The man by the trees doesn't like loud noises." I looked where he pointed. Nothing but shadows between the pines lining the property. "What man, buddy?" He shrugged and ran off. Kids and their imaginary friends. I didn't think much of it. Dusk settled thick and humid. The fireworks barge was anchored out on the lake, ready for the big show. People dragged lawn chairs down to the dock. I stayed back a bit, near the treeline, nursing another drink. That's when I noticed the first odd thing. My phone had no signal. Full bars earlier, now nothing. Storm coming. I asked my dad. He just grinned and handed me a hot dog. "Nah, happens every year with all the interference. Enjoy the show, kiddo." The first rocket went up right at 10. A brilliant burst of gold that reflected across the black water. Cheers erupted. Then another, and another, crackling chrysanthemums, screaming whistles, booming peonies that shook the ground. The noise was incredible, overwhelming, perfect for drowning out everything else. I was filming on my phone when I saw it. A flicker of movement behind the boathouse. Not fireworks light. Something deliberate. I lowered the phone. A tall figure in dark clothes slipped between the trees, heading toward the house. My stomach tightened. Probably just Uncle Dave looking for more beer. But Uncle Dave was down on the dock with everyone else. I could see his bright Hawaiian shirt. I told myself I was being paranoid. The divorce from the city, the move, the job loss, it had me on edge. I walked back toward the house anyway, the fireworks lighting my path in strobing bursts. The kitchen door was open. Inside, the lights were off except for the glow of the microwave clock. I stepped in and called out, "Hello." My voice sounded small against the explosions outside. That's when I smelled it, something sweet and chemical under the barbecue smoke. Like lighter fluid, but wrong. I moved through the kitchen into the hallway. My parents' bedroom door was closed. I tried the knob. Locked. They never locked it during parties. A loud bang from upstairs, my old childhood bedroom. I froze. The fireworks were at their peak now, one after another, relentless. I crept up the creaky stairs, heart hammering. The hallway was dark. My bedroom door stood ajar. I pushed it open. The room looked the same as I'd left it years ago. Posters, old stuffed animals, the twin bed. But the closet was open, and on the bed sat a duffel bag I didn't recognize. I unzipped it with shaking fingers. Clothes. Men's clothes. A wallet. Inside was a driver's license for someone named Victor Hale, not from around here. And photos, printed photos of me. From the city. From my old apartment. One of me and Ryan arguing in a parking lot. Another of me packing my car the day I moved back. My breath caught. I dropped the wallet. Footsteps on the stairs behind me. Heavy. Unhurried. I ducked into the closet and pulled the door almost shut, leaving a crack. The fireworks boomed so loud the windows rattled. A man stepped into the bedroom. Tall, like the shadow I'd seen. Hoodie up despite the heat. He moved to the bed, checked the bag, then pulled something from his pocket. A knife, folding, the blade catching the flash of blue light from the window. "Lauren," he said softly, almost conversational. "I know you're here. Ryan told me all about you before he You know, Ryan. My ex. The one who'd gotten mixed up with shady people after we split. Gambling debts. Threats. I'd thought it was all behind me when I left. Victor, or whatever his real name was, started opening drawers, checking under the bed. Nice family you got. Lots of noise tonight. Perfect timing." He chuckled. "No one hears a thing over those fireworks. Not even a scream." I pressed my hand over my mouth. Tears stung my eyes. My phone, still no signal. Battery draining from trying. I scanned the closet for anything. Old baseball bat from high school softball, tucked in the corner. I gripped it tight. He came to the closet. Paused. I could smell his sweat and the faint chemical scent again. Maybe whatever he'd used to knock out my parents or whoever else was in the house. The door handle turned. I kicked it open hard, right into his face. He stumbled back with a grunt. I swung the bat with everything I had. It connected with his shoulder. He roared and slashed with the knife, catching my forearm. Hot pain flared. Blood ran down my wrist. I ran. Down the stairs, through the kitchen, out the back door. The yard was empty now, everyone down at the lake for the finale. Explosions lit the sky in rapid succession. Red, white, blue, green. Beautiful chaos. He chased me. I could hear him crashing through the bushes, cursing. I headed for the lake path, but veered into the trees instead. Branches whipped my face. My bare feet. I'd kicked off my sandals earlier, cut on roots and rocks. Another firework burst overhead, showing his silhouette gaining on me. "You can't run forever," he shouted. Ryan owed big. "You're the collateral." I tripped near the old fishing dock, hidden by reeds. Hit the ground hard. He was on me in seconds, pinning me down. The knife pressed to my throat. Up close, his eyes were wild, pupils huge. Drugged? Desperate? Both. The finale was exploding above us now. Massive shells, one after another, shaking the earth. The noise covered my struggles, my gasps. I clawed at his face, got my fingers into his eye. He screamed and reared back. I shoved him sideways, toward the water. He slipped on the muddy bank and went in with a splash, knife flying. I scrambled up and ran toward the main dock where the party was. People were cheering the last bursts. No one had noticed anything. I was bleeding, covered in dirt, screaming, but it just looked like another drunk celebrating too hard. My dad saw me first. His face went white. "Lauren? What the hell? Call the police." I gasped. "There's a man in the house," he tried. Sirens were already coming. Someone at the party had seen the chase and the flashes of light and called. Victor was pulled from the shallow water minutes later, half drowned and furious. He had zip ties and duct tape in his car down the road. A syringe with something nasty. Photos of other women too. Ryan had given him my new address months ago to settle a debt. She's back home with family. Easy target on the 4th. The doctors said my parents had been drugged, mild sedative in the punch, enough to make them groggy and confused, but not enough to kill. They're okay now. Shaken, but alive. The whole family is in therapy. I don't go near the lake anymore. Every 4th of July since then, I stay inside with the curtains drawn. I record this story on my phone in the dark, whispering it like a confession. Because the explosions still sound like footsteps now. Every flash of light makes me check the locks again. And I wonder how many other families are out there laughing and cheering while something terrible walks through their backyard, using this celebration as cover. If you're at a lake house this year, watching the pretty lights, keep your kids close. Watch the tree lean. And whatever you do, don't assume the noise outside is just fireworks. Sometimes the real danger times its arrival perfectly with the show.